That's it.
Hey, good morning, folks, and welcome to the Phoenix Business Exchange Bella's Corners edition on this fine April 8th, 2024. Welcome to the Eclipse Day. And so we're going to start off with some sharing some information. And I think the first person we're going to have swing over to do a little educational piece is Mr. Mike Wazowski. Over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Bernie. And I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend and all set for this gorgeous week that we have coming up weather-wise. So today I want to talk about discipline. One of the most striking lessons that we learn in our life are the ones that initially we disagree with. And today's theme is called discipline. The education is meant for the betterment of your personal well-being and professionalism. So the dictionary meaning of discipline, it's a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. Discipline is one of the most important personal traits in everybody's life. It refers to a set of rules, regulations, which we are to follow, and while undergoing any task or activity. It is the way to be honest, hardworking, motivated, encouraged while we do any task. So let us begin. So discipline now means freedom later. And so self-discipline is one of the top cardinal virtues that we can achieve in our life. This is a fact shared by many world leaders, and it is regarded as an essential to living a good life. To these world leaders, it has meant guarding against excess, knowing when to stop and when to keep going. So today we can still see it's the virtue that opens up space for us so much in life. So the question is like, well, okay, yeah, but discipline limits me, you might say, it restrains me. So how can that free up space? Well, think about it. Discipline in diet makes you healthier. Discipline in exercise makes you stronger. Discipline in relationships makes you happier. Discipline in learning makes you smarter. Discipline in work makes you reliable. Discipline of forgiveness. This discipline is a hard one because forgiveness to others that have given you grief sometimes doesn't feel justified. But know that when you forgive someone for something that they have done to you, it will create space up for you. And medical science has proven over and over and over again that holding these ill emotions inside of you will not serve your body functions or your mind. It will take their toll. And a quote about forgiveness that I really like is, forgiveness is the fragrance that a violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. So bottom line, discipline now leads up to space later. The space of having more time because you didn't hit snooze. The space of trying more activities because you didn't need to see the doctor. You see the doctor less. The space of having more opportunities because you gain wisdom and trust. And the space of having less to worry about because the bad choices are no longer considered. And finally, the space of being happier personally and at work. So in conclusion, discipline is a powerful attribute that can transform lives and unlock one's true potential. It is the bridge between aspirations and achievements, motivates individuals to set goals, stay focused, and make better choices and constant progress. So that's it for this morning. Discipline, one of the key virtues that we can apply in our life. And the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Back to you, Bernie.
Mike, thank you so much. Just so you folks know, there's a LinkedIn live post I just put into the chat, so you can put your contact details on LinkedIn. And we're also presenting on the Facebook page for Phoenix. I'm going to share my screen and just go over our website and see who the member of the week is. That should be coming up. You should see a shared screen or rolling up. And so we have the Phoenix page here. We're going to scroll down, and this week it is Deirdre Johnson. She does interior design and coordinates with contractors to get your building into a happy space. And so just a couple of quick points here. Monday morning, hey, we're here now at 8 to 9. So if you are looking at this and you want to join this meeting, just click here and it'll take you through to Zoom. We also have one on Wednesday and Thursday morning, 8 to 9, same time. And it'll lead you to the group. And if you're interested, come on in. We have on May 7th, we have our after hours group. It's once a month on the Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. If you notice over to the right-hand side, we have our referrals at $53,000 a year to date. This reminds me, if you've done any business with other members, please forward that information into Tony. And so we have other events that are going on. East Trade Winds, it's Tuesday morning. A mix and mingle at the High Five Bell's Corners location, April 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's an in-person event. It is not online. Penny Lee's out there. She's got the dancing class for Nia, and it just helps you keep your body moving. And then we have Tony's Crystal Workshop on April 24th at 5:30. Then we have a QR directory for all Phoenix members. So if you hear about somebody, want to know a bit more, whether it's how we care focus about defensive driving and staying afoot, you need some printing done by EMA, or perhaps you need something from Shane. He can stretch your joints back into position, or Josh can do some IT stuff, or if you're having some tax love, Eric can help you in that space. Top books to read, as also Cliff Terror. Then you'll notice the e-cards. We've had over 2,300 people cross-connecting using the e-card. So if you see the QR code behind me, that is my business card, and we all have them. And if you're scanning or you're tapping that card, other people then can get that information. The value of the e-card is it makes it frictionless for you to connect with somebody. And hey, if you want to become a partner in this business network, apply and get a hold of Tony and or Penny Lee. I'm going to stop my share here now, and we're going to go a round robin of intros to the folks in the room. We'll start off with the Phoenix chapter members, and I'll start off with Eric and then go to Shane. And Eric, I have you on mute, but over to you, Eric.
Good morning. Eric Sonego of Eric Sonego Professional Group. We're accountants and management consultants. We're located in Canada. We specialize in individuals who find their taxes complicated and need professional expertise. Typical business owner that we deal with would be someone who wants to improve their financial management and wants to know what the numbers are saying about their environment and their company. The best way to reach us is by either web-based, Sonego at espg accountants.ca, or by phone, 613-254-7310. We bring reason to numbers and numbers to reason.
Any BAMs or other activities last week?
I haven't gotten off this office in 2 weeks already.
Okay, that explains the 10. Okay. Thank you, Eric. Shane, and then Josh. Go ahead, Shane.
Hey guys, happy Eclipse Day. I'm wearing my Eclipse outfit, as you can see, black with a little white coming out. Don't look directly at me, please, until you see a lot more movement, okay? Anyways, good to see everybody. I'm Shane Bales, Pro Action Health and Performance. I take care of all the aches and pains and concussions for the group. One thing even part of our, concussion management, things like that, people often talk about posture. You get your balance back, and then we work on posture right away. And as a chiropractor, most people think that we, talk about posture and things like that. It's not the be all end all, but it is very important. And when people start losing curves in their spine, so mostly in the cervical spine, so that's your neck, so back here, as well as the low back, you'll often see, like, as we get older, some of the older people start leaning forward. They have canes. They create just a curve in their spine and not maintaining those curves, which puts a lot of stress on the spinal cord. When things get stretched, you lose circulation. When you lose circulation, you lose messaging. When you lose messaging, the brain doesn't function that well. So you start losing some of those cognitive abilities as well, even though you might just say, oh, it's old age. You can do some things about this. So one thing we always recommend to people is rolling up a towel, putting it at the base of the neck. So down here, not the base of the skull, but back down in this area here, as well as in the back where your curve kind of changes. So that's your TL spine. So if I'm looking down through here, that's right here, not so much down here, but right up here, we put the thing, if you can see that. So that's the base of the spine there. If you can regain those curves, you're gonna have a lot less stress on the body, and it really helps with whiplash, especially in car accidents and stuff like that too, to regain that spot, even if you have neck pain. So we usually do about 20 minutes twice a day if we can. If you can't do it, just do it in lesser time, 5 minutes, 10, build up to it. So I think it's gonna be very helpful for posture and maintaining those curves in your spine. Anyway, I'm Dr. Shane Bayless, Project Health and Performance. Remember, we get results. Are you?
Jane, thank you. Josh, and then Dwight. Over to you, Josh.
Hey folks, Josh Lamb here from Sterling Grace Technologies. How's everybody doing this morning? We're your one-stop shop for your IT needs in Eastern Ontario and really throughout Canada. We deal in two separate divisions. One of them is software and automation, with websites also being part of that, and e-commerce. The other side is managed IT services. So anything from a break fix call at time and materials, just hourly billing, all the way up to we're monitoring your servers, we're managing your backups, we're making sure your disaster recovery plan is done, that all of your hardware and software are updated, and that we're there and ready to call in an emergency. And so if you're looking for a way to make your technology make sense, if you're looking to consolidate it and get away from the idea of running your shop as if it was just a bunch of people with home computers who have a bunch of disparate environments, different antiviruses, no idea whether they're licensed, whether they're even covered. And if you want your security managed, we're the people to call. So if you want your tech to stop just costing you money and start making you money, Josh Lamb, Sterling Grace Technologies, you know who to call. Thanks.
Josh, thank you. Dwight, and then Mike. Dwight, over to you, sir.
Bernie, and morning to everyone. Well, our company is Taste Sweet Life catering business, Caribbean catering business, and my name is Dwight, as mentioned by Bernie, and my wife and I founded this company a little over 8 years ago. We've been basically creating beautiful meals for clients and for friends and for anyone on a whole, and a Caribbean vegan based style. Basically, we do catering, we do just orders, but mostly we do vending for the last year consistently at Lansdowne Pavilion. Our specialty are the Caribbean vegans patties, but basically whatever a client desire, we can create for them and either deliver or you can order, and we'll be coming up shortly in terms of being able to have a seamlessly ability to order online. But this coming Saturday, we will be at the Lansdowne Pavilion once again displaying quite a few of our dishes, and hopefully you or your friends can come and join us. And this past weekend, actually not this past weekend, but a weekend ago, we spent about 5 or 6 hours with Ema doing some photo shoots for our website and for just more rebranding on a whole. It was a very, I guess, hectic atmosphere in the sense that having to create those dishes over a certain amount of time, but it was pretty good. And prior to that, we had a meeting with ongoing meeting with Penny Lee to basically continue to plan and strategize for the coming year. But that's has been our little world for a little bit, and I guess this week we'll be again just preparing for our market vending that's coming Saturday, and that's it for us.
Any BAMs or referrals?
No, the BAMs was basically our meeting with Ema,
Ema?
and ongoing with Penny Lee.
Perfect. Thank you. Mike, over to you, and Mike, and then Sam. Mike, over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Bernie. Morning. Mike here from MW Motivational Life Coaching. So as a professional life coach, I've created ironclad coaching approaches for individuals to help them surpass their understanding of what they have of themselves. And what does that really mean? Well, in my world, my contacts clients, the biggest challenge is escalating anxiety. And through my coaching approaches, I'm able to support, motivate these clients to turn their anxiety into adrenaline and basically creating inner peace and putting them at ease. So what differentiates my life coaching compared to most life coaches, I have over 300 hours of formal coaching from a master coach level in Canada, which is one of very few. And so today, a good referral are individuals that, are struggling to overcome their thoughts, feeling a little bit overwhelmed or whatever, and it's pulling them down in life and knocking them back a little bit. Please introduce my services. I will put my contact information in the chat, and Mike from MWM, Motivated by Results. And I have a BAM with two BAMs with Lana, one with Q, and a referral for Alex at Ultra.
Thank you so much, Sam, and then Emma. Sam, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. Just want to, first of all, welcome our second Tony to the meeting. Thank you for spending today. My company is called connectedcars.ca, specializing in dash cameras like this one I have in my hand right now. I also do minor repairs in cars, oil changes, brake jobs, such as. And right now I'm doing tire changes. It is tire changing season. If you got your winter tires still in your car, you might want to consider getting them off soon. I am pretty booked this week. I have an opening today at 3, but have openings next week by appointment. And you don't have to sit in line waiting for a car ahead of you. Just pull into my driveway and get your car tires rotated. Also throw in free brake inspection when I do that. Things gone on. Oh, I have a story for you. Q was here last week. She got her tires changed at a local big dealership. And she told me that they told her she needed front brakes. Well, of course, my quote was much cheaper than the dealer. When she brought her car, I had the brakes all ready to put on, and lo and behold, she did not need brakes. So the $750 quote that dealership gave her was bogus. So if you get your car tires changed at some place and they tell you to get your brakes done, you just might want to get a second opinion. That saved our friend Q a lot of money, and I assume she will come to me once she does need brakes. Anyway, besides that, Eric forgot that I called him last week in regards to our son. He plays lacrosse on a U.S. team and gets paid in U.S. money, so he has to get his U.S. taxes done. So Eric does do U.S. taxes, and I asked him about that, and our son is considering going to Eric next year for his taxes. That's it for me. Sam Sturris, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of the vehicle, and a heck of a lot more.
Sam, thank you so much. Emma, and then Tony G. Emma, over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Emma, and I am a professional photographer. And lately, I've been working a lot in branding photography as well, and the branding of businesses. My ideal client are business owners that either they have had the business for a very long time and they have never gone through the branding exercise. So we can go through all that, and also I have a printing company. So once we have done the branding and we have come up with the marketing collateral, we can always take all those files and make them into printing documents. Either flyers, business cards, banners, outdoor signs, that type of stuff. In terms of ban, as Dwight was saying, we had a great photo shoot 2 weeks last weekend, and it went really well. We photographed all the food, and we ate a lot, and it was really, really delicious food. And then after that, I also had a ban with Terry. So to maybe do some photography in the senior homes. And beside that, just been, working in my marketing and stuff like that. And that's what I do.
Emma, thank you so much. And Tony G, over to you, sir.
Hi, everybody. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guide of the group. Give you a little bit of update on the energy of the eclipse that is going to happen later today. It's going to vibrate until later. But this is, there hasn't, the closest eclipse that this has been is over 130,000 years ago, and it's still not close to what is about to happen today. This is where the Earth and the Sun and the Moon all come together as one. It's about identity. This is where most of the people that are looking at the sun, they're looking at it from a physical thing, but there's about 98% of stuff that you don't see that you're going to feel after. You're going to feel more vulnerable. You're going to feel more that your deepest, darkest secrets are coming to the surface. Things are letting go. Things are unhinged. There's going to be more natural disasters. There's going to be more breakups. There's going to be more divorces. There's going to be more conflicts just in various things because people can't hide what is going on with their lives anymore. That's what it really will come down to. The things that you've been putting aside and thinking that you don't want anybody to know, the earth and the energies want you to be transparent. So in other words, if you look at the things that you don't want other people to see, address it now because it's much easier when you address it on purpose than having to do it and you're forced to do it. So just look at those things. So what is the weakest thing? What is the only thing that you are avoiding to do? That's where you need to start. The other things is that it's going to be all about reactivity, is how you're going to react to things. When something happens, are you going to react? As your fuse starts to get shorter, your temper is going to be right there. And it's not that you're an angry person. It's just that the things that used to work to hold things and to cover things up, humans are very good at that. We cover things up. How was your day? Oh, I'm fine. So in other words, you'll be more prompted to do those things that make it so that it's your authenticity will come out. Things that you are thinking of doing. If you're driving your car, someone's on the side of the road needs help, and you figure in your mind, I should stop to help them. That is when you need to, because there's something there that you're going to learn and things like that. So things about help is the big things. Also, this is the time of spring. Normally, spring is a time of renewal. Things are budding, things are opening up. All right. Not this time. This is all about closing something. It's about something ending. Something is at the end of the chapter. It's very, very unique. It hasn't happened like this in this way. So it is a higher vibration coming. And as long as you're like a canoe, if you go with the stream, you don't have to paddle, just steer. You go against the downward stream, it's a lot of work, and you're still going towards the end of the thing. So it's not really working. So the idea is just to float with it. I've posted 2 energies. If you're going to be doing any meditation today, the sun and the moon meditation has the tuning forks built inside of it, and that will really ease this transition to get through. Sorry, I took a little more time there, Bernie. I just wanted to get this eclipse out because there's a lot of people that probably are watching, and it would be helpful to know what is going on and why people are getting more upset. It's just that they're being nudged in a loving way. Okay? Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you for sharing the love. And what I do? Well, I do stuff. And that's partly what I say sometimes. It depends on you, the business. And so I've got a podcast called Knack for Business. I talk to people about their business journey, but I'm a business concierge. I connect people with other businesses, try to pair them in a good way. And also involved with the Property Wizard podcast, which is about commercial real estate or about real estate and investment in that space. And here's an example of some sharing of information, although it's not for this Tuesday, it'll be for the following Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Earl Flametta, the evil marketing genius. He offers an hour and a half. It's a free call. It's a group session, and it's go through a meeting, a meetup, to do that cross connection. Business-wise, I attended Tony's Friday session to get that kind of, that meditation piece going ahead of the eclipse moment. East Trade Winds, both the following folks: Mike, Tanya, Susan Ebbs, Carl, and Jacqueline. And Jacqueline was presenting last Tuesday. And in fact, she has a YouTube piece of her presentation on there. And Mike was a podcast guest on Friday afternoon. So, yay. We had a good chat about the We Care focus, and that went very well. And now I'm going to swing the show over to Mr. Tony Stewart from Velocity. Tony, over to you, sir.
Thank you,
Yay.
Bernie. Let me know if I'm on mute or anything.
You're good, man.
Oh yeah, you're good.
So good morning, everyone. This is my first time in this group. It's nice to hear everyone's backgrounds. So Tony G just scared me right now, telling us that this is not the year to start anything new. I just launched a new venture that I'll be talking a little bit about. So Tony, maybe you can call me after and let me know how I avoid these pitfalls that you're talking about. So a little bit first about myself, and got a little PowerPoint presentation that we can do here as well. Maybe I'll just start it now, and then we'll just sort of be able to refer back to it. So just give me 1 second here. I have to figure out how to do screen sharing, and that's right here. And share. Okay, you guys able to see my screen okay?
Yeah, you might want to go into presentation mode, F5.
Oh, there's an F5 or is that?
There you go. You're up and running. Perfect.
So guys, as I'll just start a little bit with my background. So 5 years ago, I co-founded a company called Velocity. And I'm officially, I guess, the Chief Customer Experience Officer, although I tell people in a startup, I guess the X could stand for anything and everything in CXO. But yeah, we worked very hard for 5 years to build a successful EV charging technology company. As of to date, we're in about 15 countries. We're based here in Toronto, Canada. I know some of you might not be from Toronto. I think some of you from Ottawa. And that's, we started back in 2018. I think it was 2019 when COVID hit. So that was a great time also to start something new, Tony G. But that one worked out. So now this year we'll be working on something I call Inertia. It's a very larger, more ambitious project. So I've kind of broke it up into 3 parts. Just to tell you a little bit about that today. So let me just see where my slides are here. So the EV charging technology stuff, it's still a big thing coming. I think in the next few years, you guys are going to see that EV charging is something that we're going to want to have managed at utility levels. Even just for the purpose of just making sure we don't all try to be charging all at once, because that is going to be very consequential. Neighborhoods really don't have enough power for everyone to go at it all at once. It's going to knock out transformers and we'll be living in the dark ages. So it is true when people tell you there's not enough power for all these EVs, but that's only not enough power for all of us to be going all at once. In reality, most people only drive so many kilometers a day, and you can replenish that amount of power in about an hour, hour and a half of charging each night. So it's really, the idea is to make it smart and to make sure that it's so we have an AI technology that manages EV charging in a way that we'll be able to make sure there is enough power for everybody, and also to utilize the vehicles themselves as distributed energy resources, we call them, where we can actually take power back from a vehicle and put it back onto the grid and share it with other vehicles and buildings and so on. And all of this is going to require a lot of data exchange, and people obviously don't want their personal data to be known. So we've thought through a lot of stuff within our technology about how we're going to protect customer data, how we're going to make sure that people can't corrupt all of this stuff going on. And so we've worked with utilities like Toronto Hydro, and now we're about to launch a much larger pilot project with about 7 utilities in Ontario, all collectively, including Toronto Hydro again. And this is all about smarter charging. So I'm going to show you guys so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you guys a short video here. And I think there's to be able to hear the sound, Bernie, do I need to, when I share, maybe it was already too late.
Yeah, you might have to reshare, like close and stop the share, open the share again, click the button that says share sound.
Okay, because I just clicked something that says share sound, but it might not work. You're right. So let me unshare.
Well, give it a spin.
All right,
Give it a spin.
let's see if it works. Tell me if you can hear the sound.
Nothing yet.
I don't hear anything yet either. Okay, I think I paused it. That's why. What is happening?
Electric utilities are preparing for them. People love
Good.
electric cars. Businesses see a great opportunity, and governments are supporting the EV ecosystem. But everyone is looking for better EV charging solutions to manage their charging needs. The convergence of electricity and transportation is already stressing electricity grids. A sustainable mobility solution needs utilities, EV owners, and cities to work together in close coordination. Electric mobility business models rely heavily on interoperable and collaborative digital infrastructure. We at Velocity digitally empower EV charging for electric utilities, cities, and businesses. Our purpose-built smart grid technology, Hive, connects EV owners, EV chargers, and electric utilities into a sustainable and low-carbon grid. The Hive platform brings interoperability, data privacy, metering, and smart controls to EV charging. Hive's machine learning and AI capabilities reduce the EV charging costs. Our technology is built on industry-standard protocols, which include the OCPP, OEDR, OCPI, Green Button, and blockchain. It is designed to enable a viable, sustainable, and affordable future for electric vehicles. Hive delivers EV demand response and managed charging for electric utilities, design and launching of utility-scale EV programs, real-time smart controls to customers, demand prediction and forecasting, smart EV charging networks, EV load management for multi-unit residential and commercial spaces, EV-ready homes. Velocity's strategic global presence and partner network is geared up to empower an electric mobility future for everyone.
So, and I don't know if there's time for questions or anything, Bernie, or if anyone has any questions, but I'll.
You got lots of time. You have
Okay.
more to go. You have more to go through. Go for it.
So Sam put up his hand, maybe had a question.
Hi, Tony. Yes, I have a question. When it comes to these home chargers, I think they're called level 2.
Yes.
What is the requirement? What draw do they take on the grid?
Right. So whenever you see something called a level 2 charger, that means it's going to work at the 240 volts, it'll take 2 phases. That gives you a faster or more amount of current or amperage going to your vehicle. But every electric vehicle has to store DC power. So like you guys know from electricity, or if you've seen the recent current wars between AC and DC power. So direct current or DC power is what we store in batteries, but AC is what we chose as the way we deliver electricity on all the electricity grids. So something has to convert it to put into the battery. So every vehicle has its own AC to DC converter. Something like this Tesla you see in this is rendered, this might be able to convert maybe 10 kilowatts per hour, let's call it, and it might have a 7,500 kilowatt hour battery that would be enough power for this car to maybe drive all week long. But it would take roughly 10 hours for it to convert at 10 kilowatts per hour. It'd take about 10 hours for it to fill up at this level 2. Level 1 charging, which also comes with the cars, like you can just plug into a regular household outlet, but now you're at 120 volt and you might only have, let's say, 8 or 10 or 12 amps that you're supplying. It will take like 40 hours to charge a car. Some people still do it because they really drive very little, and that's hence why I said what we typically offer is like level 2 charging. We build our own level 2 charger. It's a very smart charger, but it's really the software that manages everything. And we're the first company in Canada to make it all open and interoperable for people so that we can mix and match different chargers out there as long as they can all understand this open language called OCPP. You guys will maybe learn a little bit about this in the future. But we believe in just having everyone be able to work together. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't advocating for this yet. I think there's a lack of knowing about the utility grid and how it's going to, sort of affect all of us. So once there's enough electric vehicles in a neighborhood, and literally it could just be like half a dozen electric vehicles, could be like knocking out transformers all of the time. And that's when it becomes problematic, maybe, and that might happen next couple of years. I'm sure governments will step in and create some sort of legislation or something, but we're trying to head that off, before time, and sort of give people this level of education, work through car dealers and other places to kind of get this knowledge out there today, so that we can sort of head off, this inevitable thing from happening. But the level 2 charging is always, the charger, and people just use that term generically, but the charger that's on your wall, or this portable charger, just allows the AC power to flow to your car, and your car is doing the AC to DC conversion. But you could imagine so the car has a limited rate, that its AC to DC converter is a smaller unit. So if you were taking a trip from Toronto to Ottawa and maybe wanted to stop halfway to get a charge or something like that, you wouldn't want to wait 10 hours to recharge your car on a level 2. Then you'd go to what they call level 3, or DC fast charging. And just like, so there's a piece of equipment off of your vehicle which is able to convert that AC power into DC at a much, much faster rate. So these things will go anywhere from 50 to 350 kilowatts per hour. So now even your 100 kilowatt hour battery or 75 kilowatt hour battery, you can imagine something that's doing it at a speed of 300 kilowatts per hour is going to get it done in a matter of like 15, 20 minutes. But the average public charging time right now is still considered to be about 45 minutes to an hour. Most people prefer to avoid that whenever possible. And of course, if you're using somebody's public charging equipment, you're paying for some very expensive equipment and you're paying a premium. If you can just get yourself at home or many other places that offer even free charging, you'll find that EV charging is very, very inexpensive. Ontario now is doing ultra low rates even, so you can put all this power onto your battery at like 2.5 cents a kilowatt hour. So even your 100 kilowatt hour battery is only going to cost you $2.50 to fill up, and you'll be able to drive, like 400 or 500 kilometers with that amount of power. So and even at the 7.5 cents that you'll get it overnight now, it's still only like, $7 to fill up your car. It's very, very economical. So people that don't have an EV maybe haven't experienced this stuff yet, but people that do realize that they would rather just go home, let their car charge overnight. They probably don't need a full charge every night. Like I said, very few people are driving like 400 kilometers every day. Most people just need about an hour of charging overnight and stuff to top up what they've used up during the day. So it's this level of, instead of people going to stations, that people are going to charge everywhere where they park, whether they're parked at the shopping mall, whether they're parked at home, at work, and all these places. And this is why we feel, and it's going to be all mostly level 2 charging, where your car is doing the AC to DC converting. But this is where we feel that we need people to have a smarter system. So one of the things, actually, you see in this render, you see these items on the ground. This is part of a new AutoLink project that I'm also working on, which basically will allow your car to just park, and it will automatically connect to charging, and it will, there's no cables and cords involved. It's just park and charge, and that's it. And your car might be charging, your car might be giving power back to that building or to the grid. Any number of things could be happening through this AI optimized EV charging technology. And like I said, we're wanting to keep everything open and interoperable, so that if other people want to add their ideas, equipment, etc., and because we think that ultimately, to have any kind of mass adoption, you always need affordability. Like you need to make it inexpensive and easy access for people. So the more people we invite into the ecosystem, the more people that can, figure out ways to reduce costs, whether it's in equipment or whatever it's in. We think that's really where the future is at for EV charging. Now, while I've been working on EV charging for the past 5 years, last year, actually this year, one of the things that really keeps me up at night and concerned is like how young people are ever going to be able to afford to buy homes. I'm pretty lucky, help my kids a bit. And my two daughters, they stuck it out in school, and they both have great jobs, and their fiancés have great jobs. but even the, young people today are faced with buying, downtown Toronto. You don't have like $1 million to buy something. You're not going to buy much. And I still think like, wow, even though they've saved up some money, they're still going to have these like pretty hefty mortgages and stuff. So I just sort of think like why that is. That's one. So my new venture, Inertia, it ultimately addresses that, but it's a pretty ambitious project. So I've broken it up into 3 pieces. The first piece addresses everybody in the world, and that's access to lower cost energy. And we obviously want clean energy. We want so we need clean electricity, and we need it at a very low cost. And this doesn't exist in many places in the world. And I think if you see in all of these what they call developing or third world country, whatever names people are giving them, these poor folks typically lack infrastructure and they lack energy to be able to really create any kind of manufacturing infrastructures and all of these things that could raise their economic situations. So been studying a lot about how electricity is created. And I realized that all the smart people that are splitting atoms are ultimately just boiling some water to make steam. And I thought, wow, it's a pretty roundabout process. I ultimately came up with the idea that I want to use something called kinetic energy. So it's nice that there's this celestial event happening today. But every day there is enough water and atmosphere on our planet that's moving. So any mass that's moving, basically that's what kinetic energy is. So if you take a look at all of the water on our planet and you calculate that mass and you see it, if it's moving an average even a meter per second, it like literally generates, it's a bizarre number. It's inexhaustible. It's 6 trillion times more energy on our planet than that's available from kinetic energy than all of the energy that humanity produces on the entire planet today. So if we take all of the nuclear power, we put it all together, you can create 6 trillion times more energy from just the water in the oceans. So it's I ended up creating a very unique turbine. I'm working with some folks right now in the US to get it off the ground. They're more in the hydrogen power generation space, and that's we're working with them because it costs a lot of money to produce clean hydrogen. Right now, it's something like $5 to produce like enough hydrogen that'll take you a certain distance. When we work it out for like trucks that want to use hydrogen, they'll end up spending like over $2 a mile to drive on hydrogen as opposed to 50 cents on diesel. So that doesn't make a lot of sense unless people really want. So economically, so with this new power generation method that we're doing, we're going to bring the cost of creating electricity down to less than a penny. It's actually even better than nuclear rates and everything. And so that will allow them to produce hydrogen at a much more cost-effective level. So what used to cost maybe $5 will now cost them, let's say, 50 cents, and that's going to change all the dynamics. It could be cheaper to drive a hydrogen truck than a diesel truck. So we think that's the kind of economics that will make sense to help things be adopted. So let me just see where my slides are. So ultimately, after we get going with the energy, I've also taken a look at, and I think there's so this is the underwater version of the turbine that will be working on this energy. It also works as a wind turbine that can fit on top of buildings. And it doesn't look like a traditional turbine. It's something like on a building, it would just sort of look like a cube sitting on top of a building. But we're also working on some new type of building technologies that will allow us to build buildings much faster, like better quality, smart buildings. So some of the partners that we're working with are people who deliver smart building technology. But besides the technology, just how buildings are structured. I don't know if any of you are in the construction industry, if you ever paid attention, but state of the art today is still if they do like a condominium downtown Toronto, they're using like poured in place concrete techniques to make all the walls and the floors. And the tolerancing on that methodology is like plus or minus inches. I mean, it's not even close. Like, so every unit is like could be like a few inches bigger than another unit that's supposed to be the same unit. So this doesn't really lend itself well to finishing it off in a way that you might like build a car. So my background, I guess I should have started 30 years back, but I used to design car interiors for folks like Toyota and General Motors and Ford. And so of course, I would go to assembly plants a lot and see the products that we've designed, be assembled. And it's just something that, we make and specify the products, and everything gets bolted together, and you have a car, and you can have cars coming off the assembly line every minute. It doesn't happen like that in construction. So before the Industrial Revolution, that's how everything was made. Like your gunsmith would, file away the firing pin until it finally fit into something. But then you couldn't, take a firing pin from one gun and put it into another gun. They sort of look the same, but nothing really fit. And construction is still really done that way. Like they got this, they pour a shell, and then they go and then a bunch of tradespeople come and start adapting to whatever's there, and then one person comes on top, and sometimes they have to measure each other's work before they can do their work. The first time I discovered this, I asked an architect that happened to be in a construction site, and asked like why the gentleman was measuring what seemed like the kitchen cabinets that were just put in. And he says, "Oh yeah, he's doing countertops." I said, "Okay, that's wonderful." But my question was like, why is he measuring? And he says, "Well, because you want them to fit properly," was his pretty sort of glib answer. And I said, "Yeah, we always want things to fit properly, but the idea of measuring to make something fit properly." So I was just thinking like was like cars that, somebody would just bring the countertops and put them into place, and then the next person and the next person, the next person, just like assembly. But no, it wasn't that. It was like depending on the cabinet guy, he might put the cabinets wherever, and the next person, everyone keeps measuring. And I said, wow, so this must take forever. And I did some rough calculations, and eventually I figured out, like, if we built cars this way, I think like, your most economical cars that maybe cost $25,000 will probably end up costing $250,000, just because it would just be so difficult to build cars. And so why this doesn't exist in construction, so there's a bunch of things. So one of the things, so part two of my three-part plan is developing new building technologies that will allow for the construction of things to be much faster, like orders of magnitude, like 80-90% faster, and also much cheaper. And I think that's ultimately going to allow for better products to be delivered to people in a mass consumption way, where we can deliver products at a much more cost-effective rate. And then finally, through all that, we want to build something that I call future city communities, because I realize that the technology alone will only solve part of the problem. Currently, there's what I call like a big city problem. And the big city problem is that if you want to live downtown Toronto, it costs X number of dollars. And I think that's one of the motivational reasons why there's not necessarily a need amongst the developers and people to do much about reducing the costs so much, because it's people just have to pay what they have to pay. And it's been shown that people, even if prices get to thousands of dollars per square foot, like in New York City or all these larger cities, it's either going to be people can buy it, or somebody else will buy it and rent it to people. So it's this affordability problem. So my ultimate solution to that I came up with is, why don't we build micro cities, which are a little bit different than a normal city. In a normal city, you might have hundreds of thousands and millions of people. In a micro city, there's like literally in the design that we have, it's 15,000 people living on 150 acres, having like incredible amenities. But the commercial center, like the businesses and everything, are all in that same community. So people are basically living and working in a walkable micro mobility type community that provides people, state-of-the-art housing, great jobs, et cetera. But this is where it becomes a private-public partnership between governments, businesses, and people, developers, and all the builders and everything. So it's a very ambitious project, and something that hasn't exactly been done like this before. So we are working, and as of now, we have some partners in that space as well, some There's a development company that I met with recently in Mexico, of all places. They want to build nicer communities, but there's a need for all of this stuff everywhere, including right here in Canada. So if you can imagine, it's all pretty ambitious projects, which I guess after building an EV charging technology company through 5 years of COVID and everything else, I just felt like we could take it on. But we're certainly always looking for lots of help in lots of different areas. Communities are going to need all kinds of people with expertise, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in recreation. I mean, these communities are taking care of everything. Like kids have a place to go to school in these communities, and so on. So it's I'm not sure if I have how many more slides I have, but if you guys are interested in
Tony, I'm gonna cap us off because we're 4 minutes from end time, and not that we have to wrap up at the top of the hour. So what I would recommend is that put your contact details in the chat. And I would encourage anybody that wants to follow up further with Tony, please do so. Tony shows up also at the East Trade Winds, so again, you can have a chat with him there. Thank you. I appreciate it. And this is an example of another person that I've connected, and this was through Alex. Alex, and then it was another podcast where I'm a co-host of the Property Wizard, and I went from there to Knack for Business. So Tony's also been in the Knack for Business podcast space too. So that's the power of networking and cross connecting. So just a quick reminder that it is the beginning of April. Last week we were off grid. So please send your stats to Tony, Tony G, not Tony S, because Tony S won't go yet. That's nice. Good luck. Fond farewells. And I'm going to end with the quote for the day, and then we can carry on. And the quote for the day is from Theodore Roosevelt: "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." It almost sounds like a song.